Hello everybody, welcome to the video. As you guys can see, we're on Skills here at MX Setup, and this was actually one from, I think it was February. And I put on all to the best values that I could find that easily replicate, what the available options are now. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, it's not that big a deal. Basically, just have a setup from a good player, and we're going to see if the 250, the CRF 250, the Honda, is still viable. I know this is another lame video, I know, but first things first, I want you guys to let you know this is a pre-recorded video, and I have very little time to record it, and I have very little video ideas. So, you guys get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. I do have E-Road on the track already, and I have it on at, I think, 1.2 or 4 times. It could be 1.4 if I had to guess. But, yeah, so today we're just going to be ripping around on the Honda, having fun, seeing if it is still viable and or a good bike compared to what everyone loves with the Yamaha right now. And it seems to me like people are also hopping on that Suzuki, Kawasaki, Husky train. So we're gonna see if the old bike can still become and be the best bike. And when I say the word viable, I want you guys to know that I mean like it still could be meta, it still could be a lot of people's first choices when it comes to 250. So it's not like this bike is already so far off viable, but a lot of other bikes are getting hype right now. I don't personally understand it when the CRF is still clearly a great bike, and I just wanted to, bring it around, test it, and unfortunately, it didn't get like any big nerfs or anything, so unfortunately people kind of just have died off because they're trying to find something with the new bikes, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be working all that well for for people, but it also seems to be working really well for others. A lot of people are finding a lot of new speed on different bikes, and that's really up to them. It really doesn't matter, have an effect personally on me, but it's basically the CRF didn't really change, but it also tended to suck, if you will, here on the rough track. So I was like, well, if I'm going to use it, it's definitely going to need a setup on tracks like this. So we are here on a track like this, a very rough, difficult new track with different sort of ruts, style, all that good stuff, and we're here on the CRF just to see if it can still rip around, and skill setup helps a lot with bumps and whatnot. Also have tried skills setup Husky with all the old stuff from the Husky, and it just doesn't really work out just because the Husky changed so much. So that one didn't really work out and whatnot, so that does stink a little bit, but it does seem to be working for the Honda because the Honda doesn't have any major changes. It also worked for the Suzuki, so maybe you guys can go look at yesterday's video, because this one's pre-recorded, so this one will come out after if I do this all correctly. And you guys should be seeing both the videos. It's very interesting the way that the bikes community is kind of split right now on both the tracks and the bikes. The tracks have gotten good and bad feedback so far. I don't think that there's been a majority of each like clearly solidified. I don't think that more people hate the tracks more than we like them, and I also see people saying that the bikes is a good and bad thing. So a lot of people split on a lot of different bikes. I hear hype about even the KTM 250. So it's just really hard to kind of solidify what the new metas are, and what setups are going to be the best, and how it's going to deal with these new style of tracks that we're getting out of TFC and whatnot. So a lot of speculation going around, and some of it might be cleared up if Doc has posted that YZ250 setup. Maybe if he has done that, then maybe life's solved, because I saw he wanted to post it. So definitely have to give that a try when it comes out, along with other things. Or I'm not just gonna stick to a few things. I'll definitely be trying a majority, see what I like best. I'll be giving a fair shot to all things. Maybe that should be a video. Now that's a good video idea, but we're already recording this one, so you guys are gonna have to deal with it. The Honda, so far, is what I'm noticing with it on the setup, is the fact that it just doesn't, like, it can't be bothered. All right, like the freaking old bumps that used to kick this thing sideways kind of like that, don't really play too big of a role anymore. So like even headed in and out of these like corners and whatnot, and like even down at the bottom of this hill, you see all these bumps right here. You can kind of just roll up on them, and there's no issue. But it feels like on the old Honda, maybe I wasn't going fast enough, but it just felt like you can't really do that sort of stuff. And sure, I'm sure the E-Road's helping maybe a little bit as well. But other than that, I just think that the bike is doing a good job of absorbing this stuff, and that's what you really like to see. And that's what setups are here for, is to customize your bike feel to the way you play. And I think that that is an awesome feature in this game. I'm glad the game has it, but I hate that everything's so meta and some people just aren't as good at making bike setups as other people are. So it does kind of leave that door wide open for people to make good setups, and then a lot of people just want those setups and they don't really do a lot of creativity of their own. So opens the door to business for those people with the good setup making ability. And unfortunately, I'm just not one of those guys. I can't really make one for stuff like this. Maybe for the TFC Track Series bundle, or whatever you want to call it, of like, what was it, 2021 or 2020s you know, series or whatever. That's pretty irrelevant. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal. Anyways, clear my mind. I don't think that I would struggle making a good setup for those style of tracks where they are a bit more straightforward and easy. But you do have these sort of tracks where there are so many variables, it's very tough. You have to find the soft spot for about 3 different things. So people in their new setups, they have to just deal with a lot more, you know, differences and just different stuff to go around. Obviously you would like to account for that hill, but it's nearly impossible. We should never see anything like that ever back in the game, and if we do, I'm going to be very disappointed, but it is what it is. And yeah, you just kind of want to make everything an option. So, you know, making a good setup can definitely do that for a bike. It can definitely change your opinion on one as well. So if you guys haven't already gone and tried, you know, the Suzuki or anything, recommend you guys try out a different bike or two. Maybe look for a setup or two on it, and then maybe, you know, don't judge too quick on these new bikes or just a certain bike in general because you don't like the stock feel of it, or you just realize that you can't really make your own setup for it that you like. Maybe someone else's works a little bit better. But straight up, if you don't like a bike, I wouldn't worry about it. There are plenty of options now out there, and if you feel like the Honda here isn't quite the fit, then don't worry about it. Just move on. I know the Kawasaki actually is really good. I know I'm not really that high on it, but with a setup on this style track, exactly, it worked really well. Just the way that the track layout was, I feel like you needed to be kind of agile with your bike here, and I feel like that's the exact thing that the Kawasaki does well. You can move that thing around. It feels light like crazy. It feels like 5 pounds you're lugging around instead of the whole bike. You're not really trying to control as much. You're trying to manage, if you know what I mean. Like, you're not trying to control where this thing goes. You know, you're trying to manage like how you carry the bike around. I don't know if that really makes sense to all y'all, but if you ride the game enough, I'm sure it does. It's very different, and I'm almost 100% sure that the Kawasaki will feel like the lightest bike in the game if you hop on it compared to the rest of this 250 you know, field, or the rest of the 250 bikes. And I don't know, I started to ride with E-Road. It doesn't really seem to be changing much. There is still these very noticeable bumps and very noticeable like hard turns, hard corners, if you will, and it doesn't really seem to be helping anything with getting like a solidified rut up here. It's very mental. I mean, this bike definitely has less stability than the Suzuki in the front wheels, so that hill definitely becomes a challenge. Probably prefer the Suzuki on this track, I'm not gonna lie. So that might be something I explore headed into rounds in the future. But for right now, I'm testing all my bikes, and this one kind of stood out as people kind of have forgot. Just, it's still good. It's still good. Don't rule out the Honda. It's still good. All right, it's not the worst bike ever. The other bikes did not get raised above it. You just need to maybe spend a little bit more time on a setup or time on the bike in general. and then we'll see. It might come back into fashion come around 3 or so. I know a lot of the pros are still running the Honda just because it's what they're familiar with and haven't done a whole lot of testing, so we'll see how that also ages here coming up. But I don't know, I feel like said enough on it. I feel like this is a good place to end and whatnot. I know we didn't really put down a good lap at all, so do feel a little bad on that. So maybe I can make it up to you guys with a scrub that is a little too big for how much speed I had. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time. And anytime you guys see my content, I'll see you guys there. And consider leaving a like and subscribing. It'd mean a lot. Other than that, I've got nothing else to say to y'all. See ya.